Instagram.
What it do? We got another new episode of Tech File coming up for y'all. Get ready for it. Welcome to episode 315 of Technical File, the sports podcast you never knew you needed.
And it's your boy, TIMKINZ, the number 3, a.k.a. Ass Ketchum, a.k.a. Mr. Give It To Me. Hello. Welcome back. I like that beat.
For that to me specifically.
Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I am the Air J.
Only
Or
known
actually, this week I am the ghost of Drew Holiday. He ain't dead. He's just in Boston.
He ain't dead.
I'm Camille, point guard of the crew, the real life Tifa Lockhart, the girl next door, holding it down for all the women who love sports.
And it's your boy K Harris, the gentleman.
The gentleman.
The everyday gentleman.
24/7.
But better known as K Diddy.
Take that. All right, y'all. Some housekeeping before we get into the swing of things. First things first. If you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube page. We are trying hard in our push towards monetization of this podcast. And let me just tell y'all some personal news as well. Today was my last day as a full-time employee at my job because I'm really trying to work, y'all. I am committing myself to the sport podcasting thing. So everybody who can subscribe to the YouTube page, share the show with friends, leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps us out a long way. And honestly, it's going to pay my bills. So I'm going to need y'all to add up so I can continue to eat. Okay? I am already thin. We do not need me to lose any more weight.
Hey, subscribe. Hey, Camille gonna be on those commercials. Help feed.
Lord, please.
Please subscribe.
But for real, y'all, we need y'all. If you enjoy what we do here at Tech File with our brand of sports commentary, please support the pod, whether that's sharing, subscribing, reviewing. Anything you can do to spread the word about what we do is going to help us out so much.
Absolutely.
So I had to say that first and foremost. And of course, we thank you for tuning in.
For sure.
Nope. Now, this is where we normally play the game that needs a name. But quick audible that the guys aren't expecting here. It is time for Who He
come on, fam. Come on, fam. Hey, niggas got Duke, and we got Okie Doke. Like, come on.
Right. We'll be back here.
Hey, we got straight Okie Doke. Hey, I was running players through my head, everything, man.
You better remember what the fuck they play at now, niggas.
I don't. We'll get zero right.
Because like she was like, "What's the topic?" I'm like, "We talked about this already," and I'm like, "Nope, shut up," because it was a surprise. Ooh. Okay, yeah. Who you?
I heard you say that, and you did not repeat it, and I was wondering why.
Yep.
Now you know.
For sure.
But much like
they stay scheming, bro.
I ain't hear what you said. But much like they play on, actually, we just stole it completely from inside the NBA. But every year we have Tim and Ken go against each other, playing who he play for.
Jesus.
The game is in the name. Like we just asked them who different players in the NBA play for, and the one that scores the highest wins. So as a reminder,
I
ask each player. Well, I asked each Tim and Ken, who does X player play for? If the person I asked gets it right, they get 2 points. If they get it wrong, the other person gets a chance to steal it, and they get 1 point.
Okay.
Okay, so 2 points for right, 1 point for a steal.
Yep.
I see Dwayne's in the comments real quick. What up, though? Hey,
What up, though?
Anybody who's in the comments, let us know who you think is going to win this round of who he play for.
Let's
Tim?
go.
Tim.
You already know.
Which one?
Y'all know where the winner. Y'all know where the
I
winning
think I'm on
team
a winning
is.
streak.
Hey, you might. You probably are. You probably are.
I think I got 2 on you. I'm
And
about to run away from your ass.
Hey, no, not tonight. Let's go.
so whichever one y'all lose, I'm gonna start calling the Barkley. So
Damn. Hey, I'm round enough, B. Don't be calling me Barkley, man.
Call you Chuck.
you Chuck for the rest of the episode.
No,
You wanna
he chuckles
avoid
for the rest of the episode.
Oh man.
Which one of y'all wants to go first?
Go ahead, Chuckles.
All right, I'll go ahead. I was going to be a gentleman and let you go first, but I'll take it.
I'll keep score.
Okay. Whatever. I was gonna say give me some theme music, but I don't care that much.
Hold
So
on, I
Ken,
can put some background music on. Hold on.
Yeah.
so
You don't
just
know
for-
who got. You better put a name up here.
Just for the record, Charles Barkley went 1 for 5 this year.
Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds like me.
So Ken,
Uh-huh.
Derrick Jones Jr. Who does he play for?
Derrick Jones Jr. Derrick Jones Jr. I literally have
What you
no
looking
clue.
for? Is he up
I
there?
don't know.
What-
He
what
might be,
trade?
nigga. I'm trying to. Derrick Jones Jr. Toronto.
Yeah, he over there.
Okay.
Tim, Derrick Jones Jr. for the steal.
Chicago.
Hey, he talking about me.
Dang.
It is Dallas.
Really?
Ain't over there.
And I'll be watching Dallas. He must. Do he play?
You don't watch him?
He. Oh, I don't know.
All right, Tim, your first one. Former Milwaukee Bucks,
All right.
Torrey Craig. Who he play for?
Who?
Torrey Craig.
Who?
I say who? Torrey Craig.
Who he say?
You got 5 seconds.
Nothing.
Oh no, I'm
with
turning to Dr. Robotic.
Torrey Craig.
not me lagging while you give me on the timer, bro. Wow. Am I back? Help me, please. Help me, please. Am I back?
Here, I
No.
put it in the comments.
Damn.
You said no.
I ain't even know who you said. Okay.
This
Oh,
man
Torrey
got-
Craig. I just seen that motherfucker running around somebody's court the other day.
Oh man.
Damn. I ain't even got
Just
it right
say
now.
what-
I
just
thought
say
he's
it,
in,
man.
not in Denver no more. He's in
3, 2,
Phoenix. No, shit. No, he ain't.
and okay. Ken, who Torrey Craig?
Utah.
play for?
Um.
No,
Why are you still guessing?
He lagging.
Listen, I was on a lag.
He played for Minnesota.
That is incorrect. He plays for
God
the Chicago Bulls.
God damn it.
All right, Ken, your next one is
Damn, I was just in Chicago.
he like 3 seconds late.
Oh, he's super
Ken, I got another former
3
Buck.
seconds. Good lord. Hold on.
Oh, you are so behind.
Yeah, you like super behind, fam.
Oh Lord. Ken,
What number
who
y'all
Dante
see?
DiVincenzo play for?
Tim, you got to stop talking so we can keep going through it. Golly.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, him. My bad. I'm counting. I'm just trying to see how far behind I am. I'm trying to catch my leg. I'm sorry. I was having too much fun.
Jesus Christ. Okay, stop talking. Ken, Dante DiVincenzo.
The Warriors.
That is incorrect.
Who? What? No, fam.
Tim,
He don't play
for
for the
the
Warriors?
steal, Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh, you gone. I win. Hey. Ba, 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 ba. Let's go. Give me the dub.
Loki, I mean,
Let's go.
I guess you win.
The cap is here. Hey, he don't play for Washington. He don't play for the Warriors, for real.
No.
Play
So
for the
hey,
Knicks.
we can just thug it out like they do for Charles. So it's just you see how many you can get. So
All right, let's go. All right, let's
you're
go.
already over 3 actually.
I'm gonna get. I'm getting these next ones right.
Timberwolves.
This nigga, he got me.
I get it.
Who does Dante DiVincenzo play for?
Oh, New York.
That is correct.
Boo. That don't count, man.
Bro, they over there. They
He does,
put
yeah.
damn near their whole college team over there.
All right, Tim. Yours for 2 points. Landry Shamet. Who you play for?
Ooh.
Damn, he's still hooping.
Landry.
Charlotte.
That is incorrect. Ken for the steal. Landry Shamet.
Orlando.
That is also incorrect. He plays for the Washington Wizards.
God dang. Well, I have no clues on that team, but Jordan Poole
The Wizards.
Ken.
And Kuzma.
Ken. Danilo Gallinari. Who does he play for?
God, I had no clue. He's still in the league.
last year too.
He on that same team. I ain't gonna remember what team he was up. Gallinari.
And not on the same team as last year.
He don't play for no. I thought Gallinari. He don't play for Dallas.
3, 2.
Utah.
That's incorrect. Tim, who does Gallo play for? Tim.
I can't
3.
tell if he's
Utah.
frozen.
Didn't Ken just say Utah?
Hey, he lag. He can't. He don't know what's going on.
No, he also plays for the Washington Wizards.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I definitely had no clue.
All right,
Let's say hi
last one.
real
Well, no,
quick.
he gets
Hello.
one more and then
Just say
last
hi
round.
Hi.
Tim. Former Buck Joe Ingles, who he play for?
Oh, that's the easy one.
Is it?
Mhm.
I know, like Joe Eagles. I thought he was still on the Bucks.
Maybe because I watched the Bucks.
Detroit.
I know where he went.
That is incorrect. Ken,
That was a good guess.
Joe Ingles play for?
Joe Eagles plays for not Chicago. Cleveland.
That's also incorrect. Orlando Magic.
That's
Hey,
all it's.
You was just in Orlando.
I know.
This might be the lowest scoring addition.
It is 1 point.
played
Hey, listen, I got
Ever.
one. I got 2.
You have 1 because you
Step
stole
one.
All right, Ken, your last one.
Let's go.
You got 1.
You got 1 point.
You got 1 point, man.
Frozen man.
Former Laker Lonnie Walker the 4th. Who he play for?
Damn, what did Lonnie Walker go? Who did we just get? Miami.
That is incorrect. Tim for the steal. Who does Lonnie Walker play for?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. That is correct for 1 point.
Man,
Now you got 2 points,
boo.
which
Uh,
is all you need to win.
So was the DiVincenzo one to steal? Wait,
Oh.
was the DiVincenzo one to steal? Then?
yeah, DiVincenzo was a steal. Yes.
See, I was lagging. I ain't know.
That one don't even.
Oh yeah,
That one shouldn't even count anyway.
Last
Can I
one.
take this L? Mm-hmm.
Last one. Monty Morris. Who does he play for?
Oh, goddamn no.
This is open ended.
Oh, it was actually. I guess it was Tim's question, so he won already.
Does
Just
he
for
play on
fun,
Washington too?
No, that's incorrect. So Ken, for 1 point, just to get on the board. It's a damn shame when the grown man can't wipe the scoreboard.
You know what I'm saying?
New York Knicks.
That is incorrect. He plays for the Detroit Pistons. All right,
Hey,
so
man.
with the score of 2-0,
Damn.
Tim Cairns Jr. is your winner, and
Boom.
Ken Harris or K Harris. Oh, you put your whole government in there.
What ain't my hoe?
Go ahead.
Pop.
Because
Partial
Mo-
government.
Yeah. Pop.
Yeah, you're the Chuck. You're the Chuck this week. Or this year.
I'll take it. Then for the year, ain't that? I think you said an episode.
For the year.
Nah, it's a year. Yeah.
What you want a
I mean, you
mid-season
didn't touch
tournament?
it next time we play this game.
Hey, now I gotta be like Kobe Bryant.
All right, let's
Let me
get
tell you something, Ernie.
let's get into the topics for the week now, shall we? Let me switch this over to some douche. Let's get in mode.
Shout out to Duke, his new single 5.
That's a fact. Shout out to douche. And
Shout out,
Sure.
brother.
Every
Every day.
how is my PC battery low when it's plugged in? Oh, low.
Ah, we got technical difficulties
Hey,
tonight.
fam,
Y'all
I
just got to
disappeared.
deal. Hey, we working it out. We weren't
Dude,
expecting it to happen.
I left town a week ago. It was 80 degrees. 3
Damn.
days later, it is damn near a blizzard.
Yeah.
It's a cold snap. God dang it. 60 degrees less than what you left. Everybody, woo, that's a drop.
All right. Let's talk about some NFL though. Tim, kick us off.
Today was the trade deadline in the NFL. I didn't really expect the NFL to be, shaking like that, but they had some names moving and grooving. Well, not for the name all of them, but there were a couple who I felt needed some recognition. But I wanted to ask, was there any trades that would happen today that you either shocked, and if you weren't shocked, could potentially make a big impact for another squad?
I wouldn't say I was shocked, but I was confused by the Bears trading away a high draft pick for Montez Sweat. Like, he's a good player, and he's headed into free agency. Granted, the Bears, after the initial shock wore off, is that people were saying, they have the most cap room next year, and this is just like them trying to jump in early to kind of lock down a player, which is smart, but at the cost of a second round pick. I don't know, if that was worth it. Just pay him more if you really want to bring him to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the one that confused me, I guess, the most out of everything. But then the other Washington defender getting shipped out, what's his name? Chase Young going to San Francisco, just like
Unbelievable.
San Francisco and the Eagles, they be going for it. So I salute them for
Yeah,
because they know that this is their window and they're going for it. So I like the aggressiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Bosa paired up with Chase Young
That's
and the
nasty.
rest of that San Francisco defense.
They still got Armstead.
Yep.
And
Randy Gregory. Yep.
Nasty.
I guess I figured they don't lose this week. They gotta shake it up a little bit.
All right, I need to get a quarterback.
And
They figured we don't need a quarterback if y'all can't score.
Brock Purdy turned into Brock Turdy, didn't he?
30, yeah.
The one for me is, well, there was two, but one I had saw with Kirk Cousins tearing his Achilles, which very unfortunate. Hate it happened to
Yeah.
Kirk.
Wait, Ken, what did you hurt?
His Keys.
Sorry for it. That might be the last time we see Kirk Cousins suit up for Minnesota Vikings. In all reality, which is also bittersweet, I would assume, for Vikings fans. But I heard that they were having conversations about possibly trading for Jameis Winston. That was the name I kept hearing. So I was like, oh, famous Jameis in Minnesota. Okay. And then next thing you know, it's like, nope, it is Joshua Dobbs. And that's going to be their guy going forward now with Kirk Cousins out. I think that's a better option than what they already had on the roster. But not the ceiling of Kirk Cousins, which I know sounds strange to some people to say, but Kirk Cousins isn't a bad quarterback. It's just that if you can force him into giving you a shot, you got to take advantage of him because he's going to throw you a couple and you got to take advantage of it. If you don't, then he going to just get into rhythm. And when Kirk Cousins is in rhythm, it's dangerous. Yeah. So that one kind of shocked me. I didn't see that one coming.
Ken, you got one?
Yeah, I think mine was just
Yeah,
no, mine was just really try to figure out like what their goal is by getting rid of like two of your studs on defense. Like, are they like fully committed to like the rebrand or the rebuild with the new ownership and stuff like that? So I guess I was kind of shocked for them to like pull the trigger and like basically that's what they're saying. They're going in on a full rebuild. So wasn't expecting that to happen right now.
Said it ain't worth the paycheck it's gonna cost next summer, so we might as well just ship it off.
Yeah.
I feel like it's tough in football where like to tank, like it's not tough to tank, but it just feels so much worse in football just because everybody goes out there and like your career can just end in that game. So like to know that your team isn't playing for anything, but you're still putting your livelihood on the line and stuff.
Yeah.
So one more for me to discuss is Rasul Douglas, because there were a lot of Packers fans who were hoping that the Packers were going to be buyers at the deadline, which was strange to me because similar to the Bears, I thought that they would be sellers to try to accommodate more, but then the Bears said, no, we buying because next season we got all this free money, so it is what it is. And the Packers, this is a developmental year. I did not expect them, like I said, to be a buyer, but I didn't think they were going to sell either. I expected the Packers to just kind of stay pat and just continue the year out to see how guys develop, see who they want to keep, see who they might want to build around, see who they might want to trade. And the next thing you know, Rasul is gone, and he was one of the only bright spots that we have on this team this season. So for him to be out the door, as a Packers fan, it's kind of sad because the story around Douglas was super cool, getting him off the practice squad. He has that great game in Arizona last year where he just kind of burst onto the scene, and then this year he continues a pretty good level of play. So sad to see him go. Packers said, hey, we want some draft picks, but they haven't done a great job with third round draft picks historically. And that's what they got from Buffalo. So I hope that at least this one can convert. I mean, it's too early to know about Tucker Kraft, but we'll see.
What do you think of aside from like their history drafting in the third round, like what do you think of the draft compensation? Because really they sent out a fifth and got back a third. So they just jumped up 2 rounds, not up 3.
I think that's fine.
That's fair value.
I have no problem with that compensation that they got for him. It's just sad to see him go.
Gotcha.
And I'm actually going to use that moment to kind of just segue into my general point here. I just want to be very, very clear. This is my last week. Discussing the Green Bay Packers until they give me something new to discuss. I am tired of repeating myself and saying the same things. Every week, it's the same thing. Offensive line play is poor. The running game, what are we doing with it? Why isn't Aaron Jones getting the ball more? Oh, my God, the running game needs to be established. Jordan Love, missing passes he should make. Wide receivers, running wrong routes, dropping passes when Jordan does get it to him on time. Then you got the defense, playing soft. We literally rushed 2. Dropped everyone else back in coverage and still let Hockenson get wide open. I don't know how it happened. I don't understand. And that's a lot of the reaction I have with this defense. I don't understand. I'm tired of talking about them. This week, they have more penalties than they had points. We're regressing. We're regressing at this point. So until they give me something else to talk about, I ain't talking about them no more. It's nothing to say. Unless they start improving, like, cool. We got more to talk about. No, Dwayne in the comments talk about Hockenson is elusive. They had 9 coverage.
Yeah, elusive.
No elusiveness to that. What? Come on. The Packers.
Hey, he was out there juking like a mud.
I was just like, wow, we got 9 in coverage and we still letting that man go free. Dustin, appreciate you tuning in this week. Always good to see you. Comments as well. But I just wanted to make it a PSA. I'm not talking about the Packers no more until they win or it's something noteworthy to actually discuss. Rasul Douglas, that's noteworthy. Cool. Talk about that. I'm done.
Rashawn Gary got paid. So
he got paid. Good for him. That's one of the players they saw like, hey, you're worth developing around. Let's give you this bag. Cool. The rest of y'all, I got question marks around a lot of y'all. I will be putting cases on you all. But I'm not at that point yet because, again, I don't let the Packers necessarily stress me out. I've said it before. I'm a Bucks fan. I was in the Bradley Center during some very, very dark days. Some very, very cheap games, but dark days. I listen, I'm going to be a fan regardless. It's just I'm not going to have to spend too much more time talking about y'all unless y'all give me something to talk about. So,
I got two things. One, to the elusive point, they got to free Devontae Adams because that man shook loose for like 2 long touchdowns, and Jimmy Garoppolo just missed them completely.
That's his fault.
It is. I don't feel bad for him, but for you. And then also, I said in our group chat,
free.
Free him till he free. The other thing I said is, like we talked about at the beginning of the year, this is a development year. This is about growth. Like I wasn't going to judge the Packers necessarily on wins and losses. I just want to see from week to week that they're getting better and that they're headed in the right direction for years going forward. And this season has pretty much been the complete opposite of that. Like they started off really strong against the Bears, which last week I sent in the message where it's like, yeah, I think that game sold us the dummy break because I thought that they were going to be good based off of they handled. What am I trying to say? They handled the Bears handily, and it looked good. And it's like, oh, okay, I see like the outline of a good team, and like if they can just do this and this and this, and it's like, oh, it was like very minor tweaks, and then subsequent weeks it became like, oh, they need to like completely overhaul this side of the ball, or like the offensive line is just trash, like scrap it and start over. It's just like they're headed in the wrong direction, and that's concerning for the future. Like I still think that they have way more talent than they've shown. It's just not translating to the field.
And that's disappointing, which is why I'm like, give me something to talk about. At this point, you're regressing, and I'm not going to talk anymore about regressing. Like, you can just go back to what I've said the last few weeks about this team on here and see how I feel. Like, it's nothing new.
Great.
As far as the Rasul Douglas thing, I know we saved ourselves a little bit of money with Douglas because, like, next year he was supposed to have a cap, like a dead cap. No, he's supposed to be worth $11 million next year on our cap space. Now because we're getting rid of him this year, it's going to be $5 million, and the rest is going to be the other $6.5 million we're saving now, as opposed to his contract was going to be void and he's going to be $2.5 million plus the 11 if we just got rid of him. So we are saving $6.5 million by trading him this year. We're getting younger by the second.
They already be younger.
More so the long term, but we just got younger. So like they're tearing it down little by little, and I guess the defense is next.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, given the fact that the deadline is passed. They only got rid of one guy.
I was just about to say that.
True, we got rid of one guy. We re-signed Gary, but how long Preston Smith going to be around? He been in the news talking about us getting rid of him for the last couple. And then we also have the Devondre Campbells. If they feel like we're going to turn this team to a team that we're going to probably try to, because we traded him to the Bills for once, so we gave him to a contender. Yes, we got a 3rd round pick out of it. Cool, but we traded him to a contender, and we need him. He gave up plays, but he was in essence our best corner still at the moment because Jair been kind of getting close.
Jair's been trash.
So, like, we traded away.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree with the comment of they're getting younger because they're already young and they didn't get rid of like a vet. Like Douglas was still a young guy himself. Like he wasn't necessarily an older player. He was just a very talented player who they knew they were going to have to pay some money to. And like you said, they were like, you know what, we're going to kind of cut this loss right now, recruit, a draft pick back and continue with the developmental aspect of this year and seeing who we should build around. But I don't know, man. It's rough out here in these Packer streets after 30 years of of winning, but
Yeah, like that was actually my one thing. Ken, how the hell did you do this for the last 20 years? Because this is ghetto. Like,
This is ghetto. This is life for a Chicago Bears fan.
It's one thing to be, to have a down year, but like for the last 30 years, we've had a Hall of Fame quarterback, and like we know that we had a Hall of Fame quarterback, so it's kind of like, okay, this isn't going to be, we're not going to be in the wilderness, but like we don't have like that solidification at quarterback. It's like this could be some, if Love doesn't start to turn around, like this could be some shit for a couple years, and then it could be back to the 80s for like Packer fandom. So yeah, man, I'm not gonna apologize for all the shit I've talked over the years because y'all deserved it, but like I'm a little bit more sympathetic now. God damn.
Shit, I'm not.
Thank you. I expect that from you, Tim.
Listen,
welcome.
You lose some, bro. That's how the game goes, dog. So even in this down years, like I'm usually the type to try to find the diamond in the rough in that. So if we gonna find, like, we had Sam Gatto starting as our running back at one point, and I used to be geeked about Gatto being our running back because he was the best that we had. We found a little diamond in the rough for a second. I don't mind finding. I think Gatto was our running back during one of our lower years, like an 8-8 or some shit like that. Like we kind of snuck into the playoffs that year or something like that. Like it was still a mediocre year at best that we was really hoping that we can kind of get in, which kind of this is kind of how I feel like we're going to try to piece together some shit to get to the playoff. But if they at any point in time they feel like, because right now we're like the number 6 worst team, but we got 2 wins. We're almost tied with everybody else. 2 motherfuckers got 1. It's like 4 people that got 6. We're right there for a top 3 pick. If they want to go for a Caleb Williams, I'm just saying, if they decide they want to pivot or try to pivot,
I don't think that there's any pivot to make. Like, they're just a bad team. It's not about deciding to be bad. Like they're just bad.
I feel like there's hope there still for, well, not no more with Douglas. Well, yeah, I still feel like there's hope there for the defense. I just feel like we got to change the reins for the coordinator and see where that goes.
Listen, the Packers have talent on both sides of the ball. At this point, they are underperforming, and they are undisciplined, and probably any other unword you can use to describe. So, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm a Packers fan, yes, but they honestly don't deserve more of our time until they give us something worth our time to discuss. Because at this point, we're a broken record.
I agree.
I'm sure
we go to the other trash, brother.
Right. What you got, trash, bro?
Hey, man. Now y'all see how I feel. Welcome. Welcome to the dark side. We've been going through this. Y'all done had Hall of Fame quarterbacks for 30 years. We've been going through this for 30 years. So yeah. Yeah, it's trash. Yeah, but my thing is Jim Harbaugh me, please, man. Like I have no faith in Matt. Like he is pure trash. Like the thing that with us losing like this week is that I was sort of happy about losing because it happened and we couldn't put the blame on, oh, Justin Fields this, Justin Fields that. Like our play calling, our coaching, it just isn't there. So like I feel like it was like a saving grace for my boy Fields. Unfortunately, like I still think that he need to move around or whatever, but we need to just blow it up, bro. Like no, it's not working. And like we need to get rid of Matt and hit up Harbaugh. Michigan is doing great this season. They're like one of the powerhouses in college football. He's been going through a lot of BS though, as well, like legal stuff. And I feel like the course is coming up for that he needs to move around. And I think the Chicago Bears is the best fit for him. He was our quarterback Bear fans love him still. So I feel like it'd be a great fit. And I feel like that he can come in and give us the structure that we need, but also come in and just change the culture that we have. I feel like that he would be the best fit right now.
One thing I will say about Harbaugh is, like, to that point that you made about it might be time for him to move around. Like, it seems like that tends to be the case. Like, at every stop, like, he comes in, he wins, and then he wears out his welcome, and he moves on to the next thing. Happened at Stanford, happened with the Niners, and now it seems to be happening with Michigan. Although, like, some of the stuff that they're getting in trouble for, it's like, like, there's some scandal with an assistant coach that is apparently, like, stealing signs. It's like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, it's not a big deal to me. It's like, hide your signs better. Like, it was the same thing I had when it was stuff in baseball. It's like, everybody cheats. So, like, you mad because they were more sophisticated in their cheating? Like, okay. But
no, bro, play fair. What you got to cheat for? Just go ahead and be better. Don't cheat.
Everybody cheats.
Be better.
Everyone cheats.
I'm with
Everyone.
Don't cheat. Be better.
Everyone cheats.
Be better at not letting people cheat off you.
Exactly.
It's like you doing the test at your desk and you just like wide open with your shit, and then somebody else looking over your shoulder. It's like, if you don't want somebody looking on your past, like.
And I know you getting straight A's. Of course, I'm a peak.
Right. What are we doing here? It's a 0-sum game.
I used to hate you.
Worse. Y'all was the ones in the class. I'm in the back like this. Right.
Oh, like, hey, look.
I cheated off of. I just didn't care because it didn't make no difference.
Nah, fam. It's my work. But no.
Hey, it's enough A's for everybody.
All right, let's move into some NBA news. Can kick us off.
The LA Clippers blockbuster trade end up acquiring James Harden. Some people are shocked about it. Some people are like, okay, we expected them to go to the Clippers, but the saga is over. What do you guys think? This is a good fit? Do you think it will work? Do you think that James Harden getting there is going to, accumulate to them winning a championship, or is it just going to be the same old same? They get to the playoffs and get put out.
I mean, if you bringing in James Harden,
he coming up the bench.
That's a full thing right there. He comes better in the regular season. I think that they've needed a proper point guard forever.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, we've already seen how a team with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and PJ Tucker, what happens there. We've seen what happens when you have a team with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So, like, I think it raises their regular season ceiling and their floor in the regular season because they can now withstand injuries to their best two players. But I don't think it materially changes what the outlook is for this team. At least not as presently constructed. Like, they still have a couple months before. Like, I think that it was important for them to get the deal done now because it gives them more time to kind of work through what this team is, how they play together, and what other pieces they need at the trade deadline. Like, if this would have, dragged on through like the first 30 games, then you only have 50 games left to kind of try to figure it out, and then you have to worry about, okay, if somebody gets hurt, then we play one way. So like now this gives you a longer runway to figure out what this team is and what they need going into the playoffs. But again, like, I don't see it mattering in the grand scheme of things, but it should help them be more exciting and
I think it's relevant. An upside swing. James Harden is still, like you were saying a little bit earlier, he is the best point guard that they've had in quite some time now already. And you're going to be able now to move Russ to the bench. And when it's crunch time lineups, you won't have a guy out there like a Russ who defenders can completely just sag off of because he's a shooting threat they don't really care about. Like, you have to still show James Harden a level of respect. And so far this season, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they've been hooping. The Clippers defense has been pretty good so far this year, and now you're adding some offensive firepower with James Harden. The thing with it is, like, on court fit, I see how the idea of Harden works with George and Kawhi, but the thing is, I had heard some rumors that apparently he was getting kind of tired of what are we thumbing?
No, sorry, like, I'm trying to figure out how he got
I tried to do it. I tried to do it again. It didn't do it.
Like it was like a cartoon thumbs down that came up.
You wait till I find
Yeah.
out
I'm trying to figure out how you did that.
But
you wait till I find how to point to you, motherfuckers.
But with
YouTube.
Harden there, the thing of course is going to be just usage. Like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both have the ball in their hands a lot. And now you're adding in James Harden. So that's a whole nother dynamic that they have to figure out now with usage. And then the other thing with it is just going to be health and then et cetera with James Harden, because he can be a fickle superstar at times if you still want to call him a superstar. I see Dustin in the comment asks, is he even that anymore? Probably not, maybe just a name, but he's still a valuable player that can do a lot for your team. And he's on an expiring contract as well. That's one more thing about the Clippers. Paul George and Kawhi have player options next year. This is the last year on this James Harden deal. So this could be the last hurrah for this version of the Clippers as we have seen over the last few years. And if it is going to be, then like, okay, we got one shot at this, one last shot. Let's throw James Harden. Like, we don't have anything to lose at this point is how the Clippers are looking at it. And I would also agree with that. Like, I don't think they have anything to lose by doing this. And they didn't have to give up Terrence Mann or Norm Powell in this trade to complete the transaction. So, like
they didn't give up much. Like, I don't think that the price was high, which leads to the point. Like, I don't think he's a superstar anymore. Like, I think the Celtics gave up more for Drew Holiday than the Clippers did for James Harden. And so, like, it was a no-brainer. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's going to amount to much. I mean, like, I think that there would be a better regular season team, which is what I already said. But again, like, banking on James Harden coming in and lifting your ceiling in the playoffs has proven, the last three teams he's been on to be kind of there because he don't show up.
Lakers still the best team in LA.
To Camille's
so don't
point,
get it twisted.
Seeing where
Continue.
We'll see, because that's gonna be a good ass game now. It's gonna be real interesting seeing how they be sharing the ball, bro. Like on the one end, offensively, you should not have no problems. Defensively, you should still be good. Like, you should still be straight. So plugging Harden in, keeping Powell to a defense that's adding PJ Tucker as well. Like, they might find a way to make it work. I hear you, but again, now you have those two. You can plug him between those two. He just elevates them just a little bit more. Like, you can kind of, even though he may seem overrated now at this point, he's still a really good defender when you have other help, like the defenders he'll have around him too. So he can still be so he can still be a really big assistance there. So in essence, you still have that type. Kawhi and PJ go. Harden can average double digit. I mean, George. Yeah, sorry. Harden's gonna average double digits. He still will. He gonna try at some point to average double digit assists. Still, like he gonna lead the league in something. Even if it ain't points no more, I feel like assists. He's kind of shifted towards trying to lead the league in assists. So he gonna move that mug. Honestly, I don't know if they'll do some type of pick and roll with him or not. But the only one I feel like the oddball out who won't touch the ball as much would be Russ, which
off the bench you go.
But again, have Russ on your second unit with Norm Powell or have him with Mann, like that's still a potent offense. Or you have athletic, you have speed, you have defense, you have still energy coming off your bench, and whoever they feel around them, like that's not bad, bro.
Mm-hmm. So I know we did our preseason predictions on like who will be 1 through 10. Does this trade change where you guys had the Clippers? Does it about the same?
For the record, Tim thought the Clippers would finish 8th in the West. Eric had them at 4. I had them at 9. Ken had them at 8.
Yeah, I think I had them higher because I assumed that this was going to happen, so it doesn't change my thoughts on where they end up.
Okay.
The West is the West is stacked. I had the Thunder, the Warriors, the Mavericks, the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Suns, the Lakers, and the Nuggets all better than the Clippers. Finishing the season better than the Clippers. And I still see that being a possibility at this moment. Like, again, I think it's going to be another year where the West is really tight, where it's just a couple of games separating from like 2 to 8. Like, it's just going to be one of those years. It's just too much talent in the league right now. So, did it improve their chances? How I viewed them, when I did the rankings, I did not account for James Harden being on the Clippers. So, yeah, it definitely could. How? I'm not sure. I'm not even going to act like I got a crystal ball here on that one because the West is just, it's just that tough.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Where do we want to go next? So, like, it's definitely not them. But do you guys have, like, how do I want to phrase this? Do you guys have another team, like, besides, you know, Lakers for Ken, Bucks for the rest of us? Like, do you have another team that either it's your league pass team or it's just another team that you feel like you root for outside of, like, your primary team? Or a team that's interesting to you for specific reasons? Like, for me, I was going to say, for me this year, it's OKC. I think I usually kind of gravitate towards teams that have kind of been building through the draft, and like they wind up picking a bunch of guys that I was interested in before the draft, and like just how they grow together. Yeah, I think also OKC is kind of a popular pick for a lot of people. Yeah, which is funny because I think the first time I did that was with that young, like the original Oklahoma City team when they had KD, Russ, Harden, Ibaka, like those young Thunder. I was like, man, they're interesting. And like that was before I had league pass. So I made a point to go when they were in Milwaukee. But yeah, OKC is who I kind of gravitate to if I'm flipping through league pass. And you know, the Bucks aren't playing. OKC.
I agree with you on the OKC. I've been a fan of theirs for a little bit. As like the other team I kind of keep an eye on. I was a fan of the KD them squad, but then I kind of went back over there when Chris Paul rejoined them. Well, when Chris Paul joined them. So since then, I've been like just kind of keeping an eye on them because again, once he left, they got their haul, but they got really young. Shea was starting to grow, stuff like that. He became a favorite of mine. And it's been, like you said, it's been interesting. Like the teams that build through the draft, I feel like it's always fun to kind of watch grow, especially if they start getting good. Because you're like, man, I remember y'all sucked, bro. But maybe that's the Bucks fans in this. Maybe that's us seeing our team kind of go through a process where we took some swings, we missed, we signed a free agent here or there, and we seen different players come and go. And we, in essence, the draft got us to where we are now. And so maybe we kind of look at other teams like that, like we respect their process, and if they get good, cool. We seen it. We have it to us. If they don't, good luck next time, my nigga. You know, I like it.
For me, I don't necessarily have another team that I'm like have a rooting interest in. I just kind of follow players based on like play style and the type of players I like to watch playing basketball. So like my newest guy has been Devin Vassell, where it's like Spurs games, of course, are going to be fun because of Wemby. But I love the way that Devin Vassell hoops. His offensive game is just really smooth. Same with SGA. In the Thunder, like I just like watching him hoop. You know, I like guys who got a really clean mid-range game, can create for themselves. I also like playmakers, so I still check in for LaMelo. My man's hasn't gotten off to a good shooting start to the season though, over there in Charlotte. But it's the players. I love watching Luka. Like Luka really do be doing magic. The game he had where he hit 4 threes in a row for them to. I was just like, yo, how is every three getting crazier? Like so. For me, I'm more so following
just them
players that I like rather than I'm just trying to watch this team. So any night, any given matchup, it's interesting to me if I like some of the guys who are hooping on that squad.
Yeah, mine would be I do watch OKC because my boy Chet, you know.
You are
that's
Chet.
my boy.
You have it on Chet. Yeah, pause.
Yeah, so yeah. So I'm definitely I do check it out to watch him. But my second team is Dallas. Like y'all know, I love Luka and Kyrie, like 2 of my favorite players on the same squad. Like I'm gonna tune in. And Luka MVP. I got my boy winning MVP this year.
Yeah, again, There you go, bro.
Yeah. Dallas is a
Take it,
fun
yeah.
team to watch.
There you go for Luka. That man
Huh?
gonna take that one.
Yeah, exactly. But they're a fun team to watch, though. Just seeing like they're really scrappy, if that makes sense. Like they're a team like okay, like, but they're also like such an up and down. Like they'll start off strong, but then they'll finish like weak, or vice versa, like any given night. So that's the only thing that's kind of the only consistent thing with that team is Luka's play, honestly. So you know what you go get from Luka every night. But other than that, like it's just you have no
Not
clue
even Kyrie.
what we go get into. No, Kyrie's consistent too, but not as consistent as Luka. Like we can go into the game like, okay, this is what Luka gonna do for sure. Kyrie, he's Kyrie, so he still does what he does. He's still one of the best ball handlers ever and stuff like that. But he isn't as consistent. Like I can't look and be like, Kyrie go give me this, this, and this. Like Luka, you know, like okay, Luka go do this, he go do that.
Yeah, he's gotten off to a little bit of a slow start from three. I know for sure.
Yeah,
Kyrie.
yeah, for sure, yeah. But he's still distributing the ball well, though.
Mhm.
He's still doing him and being Kyrie. So
Okay.
Fair enough.
So it sounds like Camille and Ken, you guys kind of gravitate towards players, and then players kind of inform the teams that you watch a little bit more. Versus Tim and I kind of look at the whole teams and like pick a team based off of what players do they have and how do they kind of play together.
yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
So like,
Because it feels like with like your home, like the teams that you're loyal to, it's kind of like you just ride with them regardless. And, you know, like
yeah,
through ups and downs, it's just like, well, I'm stuck here. Whereas
Yeah.
the other teams, you can kind of float from different things. You can kind of look for different criteria to kind of base that off of. Because it's definitely not OKC every year. It's just it happens to be OKC this year.
yeah.
I feel it. Tim, what's on your bird NBA related this week?
Speaking of homegrown, these Milwaukee Bucks of ours, Ken included, you know, he a fan too. I through the first 3 games, they've been interesting, but I've been paying more attention to the defensive side. Like I know there's been trying to figure out the chemistry. Dame trying to find his like comfortable because first 3 games is at the crib. Game 1 was good. Game 2 was down. Game 3 was good. I felt like game 1 I said that he struggled shooting a little bit in game 1 outside of that hot spell because he was 9 for 20, but he had 17 free throws. So that it really did help the rest of that. But other than that, he was 9 for 20. Like outside of that though, I felt like the 3rd game was good. No, but people paying attention to Dame and trying to figure out the offense. Like look how you trying to get comfortable with the rest of the players. You see the spouts with Chris. For me though, I've been trying to figure out how we're gonna stop people. And the thing that stood out the most, and it's going to be glaring, it's going to be jarring, is because of the fact that we're missing Drew Holiday now. But I feel like our defense now went from people trying to, so the point of attack now has become the focal point, I feel like, of teams that are specifically guard heavy, like
Atlanta.
Like Atlanta, for example. We got smoked because both of their guards are the ones that kind of fuel the entire offense. We had guards, including the Eric Bledsoes and stuff like that. I kind of like feel like the kid era ushered in more of the bigger defensive guards, but we also had the Javon Carters too. So when we had guys like that, the point of attack was, in essence, getting confused, confuddled a little bit at the start because of the fact that those guys getting the balls they're getting the guard ball out the hand quicker, things like that. They pick them up full court, which we got excited for. We ain't finna ask nobody pick nobody at full court on this motherfucking team right now, outside of maybe Marshawn or maybe the rookie. Other than that, us missing somebody at the point of attack, I feel like guards are now looking at it like, no, I'm gonna get my shit off now, as opposed to when it was Drew. Eventually, you go be like, how can I get my shot off with these guys, or how can I get my shot off against Javon, or how can I get my shot off against Bledsoe if they're hounding you all night? Whereas now it feels like, well, it looks like to me that the guards are licking their chops, and this is when they see Dame at the top, like, I'm gonna just go ahead and attack him. I'm gonna just go ahead that way, which is kind of opening up everything else, because it looks like, I may be wrong, that we have a rotating defense, and our guys aren't necessarily catching these rotations the way that they need to, so they're leaving people wide open in the corners. Why? But booty naked open in the corners, and it's bothering me. But that's not even what's killing us. The killing us is the paint. So it's like, damn, where do we go? And I've seen it a couple of times where it looked like people confused or got lost a little bit on the rotation. Understandable. It's the first 3 games. I was like, but I'm looking at the defense, and I'm like, we so used to having a top 5 to 10 defense for damn near the past decade because we've had guys in place to stop the point of attack. Whereas Bud's my motto was, you ain't getting on my court if you ain't playing defense. And I felt that way the first game, as the same way I felt the third game, is that defense has not become number 1 no more, but it's more so maybe 2 or 3. So I felt that way since the jump, and number 2 kind of really showed that. But I was like, shit, we'll see what happens. Game 3, it was a lot better, but it was crazy. It's I'm more so concerned, like, okay, what do we do to go ahead and stop these guards from teeing off on us? And it's a lot of really good ones in this league.
I can rebut. It's funny because we had 5 years of Bud, so that was 5 years of having a very solidified, very conservative defensive attack. Like, the drop is keep everything in front of you, don't get put into rotation, fight over every screen, kind of funnel everything to the paint. Whereas now it's trying to get in the passing lanes. It's being a little bit more daring, going for steals, deflections, disruption. And that when that breaks down, like, that does lead to a lot of open baskets. Leads to, like, where the defense gets broken down and it's just like an easy parade to the basket. So, which is funny because if you remember back 6 years ago, these are the same complaints that we had about Jason Kidd's defense.
Very similar.
And so it's like they keep swinging wildly from one end of the spectrum to the other. And it's like, I know the shortcomings that Bud and his defense specifically had in the playoffs, but that gave you a much higher floor in the regular season because, like, over the 82, like, the law of averages out so that you win more than you lose. But, like, it's such a small sample size of the playoffs that if somebody gets hot or they hit a bunch of contested shots or they find, like, these little pockets that the Bucks defense was willing to give up, that would get you beat. So, like, I'm concerned just because they don't have the personnel anymore defensively. Like, to your point, like, we've had 8 years, I think, of Drew, Bledsoe, even guys, to your point, Javon Carter, George Hill, Dante DiVincenzo, Wes Matthews. Like, these are all primarily defensive players first and foremost, that are really stout at the point of attack, really good at fighting over screens, really good at playing defense without fouling, which I don't think any of those things can be used to define the guards that they have now outside of Marjan, if you want to classify him as a guard. So it's going to take some getting used to as a Bucks fan, watching a team that doesn't have that defensive identity. Words. But I do think part of their calculus is great defense only gets you so far, and this is the offense first league. And once we get our offense kind of put together, we should be able to outscore everybody, and the defense can be just good enough because you still have Brook, you still have Giannis, and they'll kind of keep the floor outside of the bottom 10, I guess. And maybe as the year goes on, they kind of get those rotations down. They kind of get the nuances of the defense that Adrian Griffin is trying to implement in place to where there aren't so many, like, glaring, Jesus Christ, how did dude get wide open in the dunker spot? Like, so I won't even say I'm hopeful because I actually don't have that high of an opinion of Adrian Griffin thus far. But again, it's only been a week into the regular season. But I'm also concerned, but I do think that it will get better as the year goes on. But I also said the same thing about the Packers. So,
I'll be quick because we're already running up on an hour now. The Bucks defense was my biggest concern going into the season because when you hire Griffin, he talks about his scheme, and you think you have Drew Holiday as your point of attack point guard. it makes a little bit more sense. You swap him out with Dame, then you kind of slide towards, okay, let's start also Malik Beasley because of that shooting that he can provide, given the gravity that Giannis and Dame will create. So more opportunities, more open shots. Let's get a shooter out there. I get it. And people compare, this Bucks team to Toronto teams of the past. And the big difference between those Toronto teams of the past is that they had better wing defenders than this Bucks team currently does. So I have some questions about if personnel fits scheme, because also seeing Brook Lopez have to be very aggressive and play up. And it's different seeing him not in the drop. He is a slow man, and it's no disrespect to Brook, but he's a 7-footer who is 260 pounds, whatever the weight is,
80,
and he moves slowly, and that is just what it is. If you have him as somebody who's pressuring on ball, and then he has to also try to drop back at some point or switch or make any movement that's going to be quick, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage if you think that is going to be a feasible thing to continue to do. And then also this high trapping off or defense that they're playing, aggressive. A big change that I've noticed with this defense and those of Bud's past is that we know Bud was somebody who didn't like fouling. If you fouled, Marjan already said it, I'm sitting on the bench. Can't be that aggressive because I have to play with a certain leash on me. And Griff is letting these dudes keep hooping when they got 2 fouls in the first. He's not even pulling them. He's just kind of keep doing what you're doing right now because I'm assuming he's saying you're doing what I'm asking you to do, and the whistle just isn't going our way. And I say all that to say there are many different ways to play defense. At its core, this Bucks defense still looks to do what Bud's defense did, which is limit at the rim and limit threes. They're just executing it in completely different ways, and we'll see which way is going to be most effective given the personnel that we had. I was thinking about the fact that this is Griff's first season. When you are trying to insert, your new scheme on a team, you're trying to bring in your players, but the Bucks were in a position this summer where they didn't have much room to do anything. They kind of had to bring it back as it was. So this could be trying to put, a square peg in a round hole, and it's just not going to work the way that he is envisioning it. But maybe in 2-3 years when he has more players that fit his scheme, it's more fruitful. And right now we're just trying to see exactly what that looks like, which is why I'm somebody who has such high hopes for a Marjan to try to break through in that roster, because he seems like the kind of player that would fit in the scheme a lot better. But again, if the Bucks can end this season with just having a average defense and an elite offense, it's still a win. This team can still win a championship with that formula. It doesn't have to be done the same way that it was done when they won in 2021. So
through 3
we'll
games,
see. Definitely keep an eye on. We'll see.
I was saying through 3 games they don't have either. So I want the offense kind of needs to kick it into gear too.
And it's early still, and you got guys doing adjusting. I'm not.
So I keep saying it's through 3 games. So I'm not
is
pushing
too
the
small
red
yet,
button.
but it's something to keep an eye on and just kind of track how it continues to progress or regress throughout the season.
And one last point, because I know, like you said, we're running out of time, but it's I brought up the point of them swinging wildly between the 2 different extremes. It's can we just focus on versatility? Because I think that's what ultimately you need in the playoffs, because you might get one series where an aggressive trapping defense really works because of the offensive personnel of the opponent, whereas then the next round you advance, and then you get a team where it's okay, we need to be a little bit more conservative. We need to stop threes. We need to do this. We need to do that. It's if you only have one pitch, that was what Bud always got in trouble for, is he will only have one pitch, and then you don't have anything to pivot to. The one year they actually finally started implementing, okay, a little bit more switching, a little bit more trapping, a little bit more hedging, a little bit more blah, blah, blah. That was the year that they won a title. Granted, some luck broke their way in the playoffs, but they were at least able to, the Suns series, they tried things at the beginning that didn't really work. They get down to a hole, then they go back to basically their base defense, and that's what kind of leads them through. But because they had different things to try, that kind of got them through the playoffs that year. And it's just kind of frustrating to see, now you're not even leaning on, when Adrian Griffin was hired, he basically was oh, I'm not here to break anything. I'm just here to make minor tweaks. And it seems like he just junked the entire defense when you still have the personnel, save for Drew, which is a big part of it. So I'm not saying that, but you still have Brook kind of as the centerpiece of your defense, it's like maybe play to his strengths a little bit more, or at least see if that works with Dame and Malik Beasley on the perimeter, as opposed to just like putting him out of position. Now his value to the team is a little bit more diminished because you're not playing to his strengths
on the perimeter.
One
like,
thing
why
I say
is he
about
35 feet away from the basket?
He'll throw about 4 or 5 different defensive schemes out in the same game. So that aspect of just trying different things out and seeing what works best is, something that he has already shown that he's willing to do. And I do question too, because this is his first year here. He's getting used to the players. If he is just throwing things out to see how guys can respond to doing certain things. So as the season continues to progress, he puts them in the best position to succeed. So we'll see. I see Mark had a comment saying that, it's still early. Ask me this question, if it's still happening in January, February. And honestly, that's probably the best way to look at it. But again, something to keep an eye on as the season progresses. So
really regret committing to the sleeveless look because it's cold now.
The one thing I wanted to talk about really quick is just the NBA player participation policy. There's a lot of hoopla around the NBA doing that in the first place. The NBA has been seemingly looking for as many ways as possible to keep star players on the court, playing in as many games as they can. That's part of why they implemented the in-season tournament, which has rules around star players must, you can't rest during these games. That's part of why the NBA also has inserted the game minimum for winning league awards, because they want guys to play in as many games as they can. And also why you see the league coming out with new research, quote unquote, that says, hey, load management don't actually work, so y'all shouldn't do it no more. And the timing of it all is just very interesting. But I've seen so many people during this first week talking about the player participation, like, oh my God, they already testing it and guys are sitting. Outside of Philly, where they had Harden, they turned him away from the plane and then said, you can't come to Milwaukee and sit at home. And when they were thinking of resting Joel Embiid in their home opener, none of the other ones, maybe you can say Jimmy Butler sitting in Minnesota is one where you're like, should he have to play in that one? But other guys are hurt. Beal is hurt. Book is hurt. Like, so
like he's out indefinitely. So
who is
Booker?
So like Fox, he's out now, and it's not because he's resting and they're trying to skirt around. Like, it's a game. It's a physical game, not like football where you're getting hit all the time, but you got so much movement and you're falling on hardwood. Like, injuries happen, and that's going to be part of it. But just because a star player isn't playing doesn't mean they're violating the rule immediately. Like, you have to understand why that player is sitting in the first place. And then if it's not passing the smell test of, it's the national game, 2-star guys resting and all the other rules they have, then for sure blow that whistle. But otherwise, like, things are really going to operate as they have. They just want to encourage guys to play in national games and to play as many games as they can. So I just want to throw it out there because I saw a lot of people talking about how many guys and how this policy was being tested so heavily. And I was like, outside of Philly, it hasn't really been tested too much over this first week. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I thought that definitely with the Suns, especially game one when Bill was sitting there. Like, I'm like, he's probably injured. Like, injuries still happen. Like, just because it's the first game of the season doesn't mean like he didn't tweak something in practice or like something happened in one of the preseason games. Like,
injuries just didn't reset.
Like, I don't think it benefits the team to start resting him in day one. Like, even before this policy was implemented, like, nobody did that.
So, just want to throw it out there. But let's talk some wrestling. Then we can hit our quick hits and get up out of here.
For sure.
Eric.
Oh, my bad. Crown Jewel is this Saturday. It's a pretty stacked card, to be quite honest. Like, they usually do a big, what do they call it, Riyadh season or whatever. But I think it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 match card. Which match are you guys looking most forward to? Camille, I guess.
This might sound funny, but John Cena and Solo Sikoa, because like one of the storyline has been just fascinating around the bloodline and everything that's going on with them. But John Cena's Summer of Cena is over now. Summer is over. we knew Cena's contract that he had initially with the WWE was pretty much through the end of October. We're here now. And the way that they have been framing him is he's going and kind of being like, do I still have it? I feel like I'm losing it a little bit. Like, you already knew I had 5 moves of doom, and now it's not hitting the same way. Like, I can't be a liability out in the ring, and I really want to make sure when I'm out here, I'm giving y'all something. And he has been harping on this, and at SmackDown, he made a guarantee saying, I promise you I'm going to win this match against Solo. And on the other side, you got Solo who got Roman in his ear, and Solo's like, I can't lose this either. So, like, just the dynamics that they use to build this rivalry, I've found it very entertaining, and I look forward to seeing it. Of course, I look forward to seeing my guy, LA Knight. But the match itself that I'm most interested in happens to be John Cena and Solo Sikoa.
You gotta hear the trumpets, dog. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. That's my shit.
Yeah.
We are
hit different lines. Hey, yo.
Use that old drop.
See, y'all on that shit. Don't start.
Can't we on it?
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to the undisputed Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns versus LA Knight.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see like LA Knight like get his push. The only thing that kind of sucks, well, I ain't gonna say kind of sucks, but like I'm going into it knowing that he isn't going to win. If that makes sense, like it's cool that LA Knight is being put on the pedestal, but then like as I was at SmackDown and like seeing everything, I was just like what if they did, because they pushing LA Knight so heavy? What if they did let him beat Roman? Like what would that actually do, or whatever? So I'm excited to see what the outcome is going to be. I convinced myself that I don't know what's going to happen, so it makes me even more excited to see it. So yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, that's the number one for me too. Just because I'm fascinated, and I think we'll get to that conversation later. But I'm just fascinated with kind of like all the moving parts that are going on. Where Roman is 3 years into this run, and he has limited dates, and he doesn't work that often, but he has like the most compelling storyline going, even when he's not on screen. Like you still feel his presence. And I think that, just seeing like this long-term storytelling vehicle in Roman Reigns going up against this guy that's just basically come out of nowhere in the last 9 months, and really get to the point where it's like, if this culminated at Mania, you would be like, this makes sense. You know what I mean? Like this is it's not a Mania main event, but it could easily have been a Mania main event just because of how hot LA Knight has gotten over the last 6 months or whatever. So like to me, like it's just the juxtaposition of those two, again, polar opposites, where it's like one's a hot shot and the other is just like a slow burn, and they're meeting at this point where it's like it wouldn't. I keep wanting to say it wouldn't make sense for him to win, but it would make sense for him to win. But it's like, what? Come back to me, because like I'm trying to formulate the words that I want to say, because it's like the in-ring going up against each other, but then also like so much out of it, the storytelling opportunities that they have and the different directions that they can go going forward. Oh, that's what it was about Ken. Shit, I lost it again. Sorry.
Three of us, I am also looking forward to the Roman Reigns LA Knight match. The reason being is because I am one of the main reasons why I love wrestling and have always loved wrestling, even when I found out how wrestling actually operates, is the fact that I love being in the realm of disbelief. I love being suspended in that reality in the world that wrestling creates, to where anything could possibly happen at any given moment. So for me, being a fan of LA Knight and having actually recently been like, hey, when they go get my boy a belt, I wasn't expecting a shot at the main belt. I was more so like, build him up, keep building him up like y'all been building him. Let him catch one in the mid card and slowly let him, get it reigned and lose that to get up there. But him going through this now, and like you said, the way he just he got hot. And if this became a Mania moment, it would be like a Daniel Bryan moment. Is in essence how we would feel about it, because the fans in essence boosted Bryan to his moment, and that's kind of where we feel, or fans feel like they are now with LA Knight, and they're trying to in essence replicate that, which to a degree that was a double-edged sword by the WWE. Vince refused to try to give in to the fans because he didn't want to feel like the fans could just make anything happen. One time they did, fans been really trying to make it happen again. So, but with LA Knight, it feels a lot more same organic. Like people just got behind him, they start fucking with him, they get like his catchphrase, like the mic work and things of that nature. So for him to get an opportunity at these events where they've been trying to put on a spectacle the last couple of years for sure. The last couple of events have been really good, actually. A couple title changes. It's not. And so me jumping back into this world of maybe it could. I feel like this is my match that I'm looking forward to. One, I've been a fan, but then my wife maybe not a fan, but I'm still kind of a fan of Roman Reigns. Big fan of LA Knight. So them two having a match finally for me is what it's part of the. I really hope he can do this, even though realistically, like that belt ain't moving. But if it could, it would be dope.
I remember my point really quick before we move on. Can you like basically like it? But what's his name? Bubba Ray Dudley. He's like, if they can cheat LA Knight out of the win in the right way, it creates so much more sympathy for him going forward, and you can make him an even bigger star. So essentially, it's like screw him the right way. Pause. But like if you screw him the right way, like you can really build upon the storyline. So that's what I'm saying. Like it can kind of go in so many different directions that I'm interested to see what path they take.
Yeah, what they're gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's it for the Crown Jewel. I think it's what do you say, noon on noon Central
time
on Saturday.
Yeah, Central time. Yeah, we'll be watching.
If I remember. Tim, what you got?
So Roman has been holding on, like you mentioned before. So I was kind of thinking about like, all right, what do you consider a successful title reign? Or what do you consider a good title reign? And do you consider a fighting champion part of that equation? Because there have been champions who've held the belt for many days and months, and they may have they may have defended the belt 5 times in 12 months. Other time it's promo, maybe because they hurt, maybe because they're sick, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of people like, damn, you holding the belt hostage, give it to somebody else who's going to actually defend it regularly. Mm-hmm. Do you consider, because of the fact that they don't defend it regularly, or them not being a quote-unquote fighting champion, because the fighting champion, like kind of how Seth was at first when he first got the belt, he was defending that mug every Monday. He was on NXT defending that motherfucker. Like he was just Becky when she got the belt. They was on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday main events. They was defending that mug 24/7. Does that matter to you as far as making reign successful?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I don't think it necessarily matters anymore. I'll use Brock Lesnar as an example. Like Brock Lesnar didn't necessarily defend his title like
I
that.
hated it.
But every time he did, it was a spectacle though. So I feel like as long as you can build up the hype and you can make the storyline work, make me still be interested, I feel like that means more. Because honestly, like the Seth and Becky route, when they were fighting, like you fighting every week, like 3 times a week or twice a week, like I think that's a little too much, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, I don't necessarily feel like you have to be a fighting champion, but you not defending the title as much I don't really feel like that matters either. As long as you can make when it comes time for you to defend your title, that it's a spectacle, or I'm involved. Like I want to be drawn to it. Like, so I don't think you got to fight every night for me to be like, oh, like you're a great champion.
I'm with Ken on that one. And I want to also say, I think that's particularly true for like the big belt. So the world champion, like that is exclusive. My feelings on that is exclusive to that belt because it is the top belt in the company, and it means that you had to work your way up there to get it. So I feel like at that point you've earned that right to not be there every night. It makes like the spectacle of it feel larger. Like, oh my God, maybe not as infrequent as Brock was because he wasn't even like building a storyline. He would just show up and be like, all right, it's time to fight. Like in that sense, like with Roman, he also does not fight often. He's not at every show, but he's still in storyline, so you're seeing him. And I think that is part of it as well. Like if you can still be involved in storyline, when you're not fighting, it helps keep the interest up because when you finally do step out there to, wrestle, it means something. So I don't necessarily think you have to be a fighting champion for the title reign to be like successful.
Yeah, y'all pretty much took everything I was gonna say. Like scarcity can kind of make things bigger. Like it's why individual NFL regular season games matter so much more than MLB or NBA. It's just because you only have so many. You have to make your impact.
Less is more effect.
Less is more, essentially. But I do think that there are times when, like John Cena's U.S. Open Championship, whatever the fuck it was called, a couple years ago, where every week he would come out and like, "Hey, somebody come fight me." Like I like that he can't. Like I like that was a segment that I could count on every week, and it was always going to be like either somebody surprising or somebody debuting or somebody returning, and they'll. And it will be a good match because they will give it time. So, like, there are so many different ways to skin a cat. So it really depends on what the storyline is. Like, the belt ultimately is just a prop for storytelling. Like, it in and of itself, it doesn't mean anything technically. You know what I mean? Like, it only denotes like it's the thing that they're going for, but like how they tell a story around, like different people's motivations for doing different things. Like that's why like Cena didn't hold the belt for a year, but he was always the main event because like it was about his storytelling, and like that was the long-term story that they were telling. Was okay, the rise and fall and rise again of John Cena over that year was the most important thing on the show. Like now it's Roman Reigns is the most important thing on the show, and that's because he has this belt, but the belt only matters because it props him up as the tribal chief. It props him up as a man. It mean, like he's made it mean that specific thing. Gunther's reign only matters because he's made it that specific thing. He talked about it with The Miz last night, where it's like, I made that title relevant because for years the IC belt was just there, and then Miz had it, and he kind of made it mean something, but that was because of the story that they were telling. So that's a long-winded way for me to say like the story dictates what makes a good championship reign versus whether you fight a bunch, you fight a little, you fight women, whoever. It depends on what like what the story is behind it.
Speaking of stories, let me tell y'all the story real quick. This past Friday, I went to WWE SmackDown. Ken also went, so he can jump in and add on to the story as well because it's going to be our story since we went. This was the first live TV wrestling event I've gone to since like 2015 or so. It's been a very long time, and that was a pay-per-view in Houston. Tim, whatever that trip was, that's the last wrestling show I've been to live where it was actually aired on TV.
2013, bro.
So. It was a while ago. So I haven't been to a televised show in a long time. And first off, I did not expect it to be a double feature. I should have, knowing that they were doing Crown Jewel the next weekend. So of course they wouldn't be filming on this upcoming Friday since they have to be overseas on Saturday. Should have known, didn't. So when SmackDown ended and they said, stay tuned for another episode, I looked at my husband like,
episode of what?
You need a lot more. This just ended. What?
Yeah. And they didn't like pause or nothing. They just went right to it. He was like, Jesus Christ. Look, let me get prepared for a second.
Fireworks going on again and shit.
No, like you were standing there like, wait, what? And then you hear Kevin Owens music and you just like,
yeah. You're like, wow. Like we doing this, okay.
Wait, so what spoilers can y'all give us for Friday?
A little bit. Kevin Owens wrestles on this upcoming week of SmackDown. But it was crazy. I didn't make it for the 2-for-1 special. I
didn't either.
Maybe halfway, 3/4 of the way through the second episode of SmackDown before my husband had some pity on me and was like, let's let's roll on. I was about 10, 15
Maybe I was
when we
about to stick you in the Uber.
No, but yeah, it was dope. Like again, like Camille said, like the 2-for-1. I took my little man, and like he was invested, but he was just he wasn't gonna make it. So yeah, we had to dip out. So we dipped out at like 10 or something like that. But one of the main things that like we just went like a few months ago. It was a house show though. So like house shows are like totally different than than the actual like televised shows. But realizing like not hearing the commentators like makes a huge difference to the match. Like going to a live show, you be like, dude, like the camera work, like the the commentators and everything truly like make a match. So like that's what I took away like seeing it. I was like, dang, like it makes a huge difference on the match. Because I went back. Yeah, I went back and watched it on the TV. I'm like, I did not feel that when I was there. Or, like, it was crazy.
It's all on the wrestlers when you're actually in the arena where it's like, it's on y'all. Mm-hmm. So there were certain wrestlers who stood out to me where I was like, oh, you are actually really fun to watch. Like, Profits. Watching them wrestle, I was like, oh, y'all.
Yeah, that was dope. Yeah.
Got it. Like, you understand the dynamics, how to work the arena, the crowd, sell the moves. They were great. So was Pretty Deadly. That was another one where I was like, y'all.
They're about to win the belt again real soon.
Y'all got something. But
there's a big one now.
The other thing that just stood out was like the crew. Like they do so much that you don't see on camera. And the camera crew is cold because they don't even show you the crew working. But like they be moving and grooving and cleaning up and moving, changing the ring out in between every commercial break. So people are sanitary.
The hell out that mat.
Like they were out there working. And
they
was in the building. I wanted to say that. There. And I was sitting there and I was like thinking of his age. I said he was probably a Cena baby. And then when John Cena came out, the man's marked out. So I was like, oh yeah, he was definitely when Cena was throwing the wristbands and the hats. All I saw was one of the largest hands just reaching out, like like for real. He was like Cena, like me, throw it here, need it. He got it too. You could see he was just so excited, and that's what is so cool about wrestling. Like it's just this really personal thing. Like the crowd is so different, and it's like no judging in the crowd because there's no one person to cheer for. It's just I don't know. Wrestling crowds are cool, and seeing LA Knight and Cena and everybody else, like it was cool.
Yeah, it was super dope because that was my first time seeing John Cena live. And like my son literally like hopped up. He talked like doing the John Cena chant and stuff. Like he was so it was dope to see him super excited. I was like, oh, like that's dope. Like when little man was super geeked about it. But yeah, it was dope to see John Cena. But LA Knight, like being in the arena when he comes, you like, yo, this dude's stupid over fan. Like as soon as it went off, like I fanned out. Like I was like, yeah, let's go. LA Knight doing the chants, all types of stuff, bro. So yeah, it was super dope.
That was cool that they gave him that moment because like nobody else has interrupted Roman during his entrance, and it's like that's a very simple thing, but like that shows like that's some shit that The Rock would have did, or that's some shit that Stone Cold would have did. You know what I mean? Like, and not comparing the two, but I'm just saying, like, those are the type of moments that they give to somebody where you're like, yeah, like when they want you to look cool as hell, like that's some shit that they'll have you do. You know what I mean?
I'll end it with this: the point at how over LA Knight is. Again, it was 2 different SmackDown shows. LA Knight came out a lot. I think he came out at least 4 times, maybe 5 between the 2 shows. The pop didn't change either time. People weren't tired of seeing LA Knight. Like music hit and everybody is still it was the same way where it was like every time it hit, it didn't matter. Like people went up. Bianca was similar. Both times she came out, big
man,
pop.
She's so fine, yo. I think she got finer, bro. Like to be honest. One thing about real quick about LA Knight, please give us a new finisher.
It's so trash.
Like that finisher is trash. Like seeing him do it on Roman. No, but when he hit it on Roman, I'm like, fam, he can't beat Roman with that, bro. Like, let's be serious, folks. Like, my son can go in there and do that, fam. Like, stop.
I mean, he bop you on the top of your head on the mat. What you talking about?
No, bro, that's trash, bro.
he also boxed himself on the bat. Like when he did,
Yeah, he got to put the whole body into it.
Honestly, crossroads is like that too. It's like that's gonna help. Like if that was a real move, like it would hurt Cody just as much more than it would his opponent. So it's the same deal.
That should be something. No, bring that up next. I want to talk about the top 5 finishers and the worst 5 in wrestling now.
Oh yeah, we definitely could do that.
Finishers next week, but
we bringing top 5 back.
No, it don't gotta be 5. Whatever number, but just talking about the best and the worst. Maybe we do. Everybody think of what they think the best and the worst is, or whatever. Yeah. We'll figure that out. But some quick hits before we get out of here. We mentioned the injury to Kirk Cousins, but also just want to point out the fact that Portland Trail Blazers guard Anthony Simons is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks, unfortunately, with a UCL tear in his right thumb. Big blow for them. The NBA unveiled their courts for the in-season tournament that begins on Friday. Mm-hmm. I love the courts. They've been controversial, but I think it's something cool, something different to do. Dope. Kind of cool. And then last but not least, Magic Johnson became the 4th athlete to earn billionaire status. He joins Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Tiger Woods as 4 athletes that are billionaires. So shout out to the Magic Man.
Shout out, Magic.
Shout out to him. I guess she part of sports now. Swifty hit $1 billion too.
Don't do that.
Relax, bro. Exactly, dog. Don't say it.
She a part of NFL now.
Don't do that.
She ain't part of nothing, fam.
Eric, you got your blow the whistles?
I sure do. I had 2. One is Valley Sports. Yesterday I went to watch. Let me back up. Thursday, I was out of town at a work function. Sunday, during the Hawks game, I was on a flight back home. So I tuned in Monday, finally get to watch the Bucks for the first time this season. And Bally Sports app blew up. Didn't work, couldn't log in, couldn't see the game at all. Because of the NBA's blackout rules, can't watch it on League Pass. I'm just fucked. Bally Sports, get your shit together. Like, this is going on 3. Whenever they switched over from Fox, which Fox Sports Net or whatever wasn't the greatest to begin with, but ever since they made the switch over to Bally Sports, like, it seems like the app has got progressively worse. Like, it's laggy, it's buggy. Like, the stream quality isn't that great. Now I can't even log into it. I'm paying $20 a month for standalone service.
Oh, really? Jesus.
I want to watch my basketball team. Like, and it's the only way that I can. So, like, they filed for bankruptcy. Hopefully, the NBA and the Bucks specifically are moving towards a standalone model where they don't have to rely on the RSNs, the regional sports networks. But that's unacceptable. Facts. It really is.
No, that's right.
Like, you have one job, and that's to let me watch my basketball. Well, let me watch the sports that I'm paying for, and to not have that be available for, it's an early season matchup by 2 teams that it's every game is important, but like it's a very important game or a very important night. Like, it's the first Monday of the regular season,
right?
Like, you fucking with the Sheriff's money at that point. My other one's on Deion Sanders. I've held my tongue a little bit on this show. I've made it clear I'm not a big fan of Deion Sanders, but y'all were enjoying them. I ain't want to rain on no parades. But some of Deion's old, like, now that they've been losing, some of his old, I don't know, like some of his old personality quirks that were kind of masked by the winning are starting to rear its head again. Specifically, he was asked after the game this weekend, like, how can he keep Shedeur healthy? And he said it starts with the offensive line. And right now, he don't have, I'm paraphrasing, he doesn't have good offensive linemen, but he's going to make sure next year he does. And that's it. And it's like, as a coach, to throw your players under a bus like that is, one, messed up. 2, I don't see how the recruits that are looking at you next year are going to be like, if shit gets hard, he's just going, like, I'm replaceable, I'm disposable. Like, that doesn't reflect well there. And then third part is, that's a good way to get your son fucked up, because like the people that you're counting on to protect him week in, week out are now like, okay, he don't want me. Like, why would I be invested on this football team and doing my job when I know that I'm not going to have this job next year. I'd be like your boss talking about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fire you at the end of the month, but we gotta get through this busy season first. It's like, fuck this job. You know what I mean? Like, it's just bad coaching all around. And like to say that in a press conference, like I get you're upset, it's after a loss, you're frustrated, but like as the adult in the room, which you always purport yourself to be, like that's like 101. Like always shield your kids from criticism. Don't pile it on them with your big ass platform. That's all I got.
Whistle blown. All right. We're going to get out of here this week. As always, we appreciate y'all for rocking with us, for tuning in. As a reminder, please subscribe on the YouTube if you have not already. Even if you just listen on the audio platform, the subscription helps. When you see us pop up, just drop a comment, drop a like. All of that is helpful, and it helps push us up in that YouTube algorithm to help more people find us. So it's very important for y'all to do that. If you listen on the audio platforms, wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure that you rate and review. And as always, no matter where you listen or how you listen, share the show with your people. Put somebody new onto Tech File, because again, I'm eating off this now, y'all, and I'm gonna need y'all help. So, parting words, I'm gonna just say be safe. Eric already mentioned the fact in Milwaukee it was 80 degrees last week. I was literally wearing a Giannis jersey, arms out, outside, cool. And this week it's been it's not the same. Bad snow today, like ice, random thunder and lightning, all quick too. Like it was a 50-degree swing from where we were last week Tuesday. So if you're in Milwaukee, be safe, take care of yourselves wherever you are hearing my voice. If you're not feeling well, stay at home. All right, stay at home. If you want to follow me on Bill says his first time watching. Fantastic.
Hey, welcome. Welcome. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
If you like to follow me on social media, you can catch me.
Wait a minute.
On Twitter, Instagram, these PSN 2K and Hogwarts streets at Camille Monet, CamilleMonae.
I am the ghost of Drew Holiday, but you can find me on no, shout out to Drew. You can find me on Twitter at BucksBurner.
That's all you get.
That is all that you get.
Everyday_gentleman on Instagram. KHarris216 on Twitter and Snapchat.
And it's your boy, TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka Ass Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. We out.
Peace out, y'all. Thanks for supporting. We really appreciate it. See y'all next week.
Yo, big sniffing.